So welcome for the Hack for a Cause at the Global Entrepreneurship Congress in Bahrain. So welcome to all of you. You might be surprised. Where are the computers? Where are the laptops? Where are the ones and zeros flying around the whole room to use technology to solve the solutions, to solve challenges of today's world? Now, we're going to stick to the second one, but we're not going to do the first one. So, when we talk about Hack for a Cause, what can you expect from the global shapers here today? So, everyone talks about impact, but what does that actually mean? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? For everyone, it means something totally different. So, what we want to do is to give you, on the one hand, a little bit more of context. But on the other hand, more toolkits, more things you can use on a daily basis to increase your own impact and the impact of the people around you. So this is what you can expect from us in the 1.5 days we're going to have here at the stage with you. Now, I was saying a lot of times we. So what does we mean? We are the Global Shapers community in Frankfurt. And I have the pleasure of serving you as a curator of the Frankfurt Hub, but also with the rest of the hub and with the rest of the community, serving you as the host. So the Global Shapers community is a movement. And this movement is based on values. And that value is basically something which binds us all together throughout the whole world. So you can see we have close to 8,500 people below the age of 30 dedicated to improving the state of their local community. And obviously that local community has got different challenges in Bahrain, different challenges in Oslo, different challenges in Calcutta or Mexico City. But what we are bound with are the values and believing something larger than we are. Individually, as me, Damien, standing in front of you, but also my individual career. Because we are committed to support our communities to grow, thrive, to expand their horizons, and basically build bridges. So that's the second point we truly believe in, building bridges to help people through our network use multiplicator effects to maybe move one stone a little bit. But if you move one stone, it's never only that stone, however big or small it is. You're always moving the whole ecosystem around us. And this is what we also truly believe in. And third, we are just so damn privileged. And I believe every single person in this room is privileged. Through us being here, through us having the opportunities we have, maybe we fought for those opportunities. Maybe those opportunities fell into our laps. But we reached out to those. And there are some which didn't, couldn't, but we are there to support them in having those opportunities. And this is basically what the Global Shapers community is about. We are dedicated to shaping the future. And that's what you can expect from us for the next 1.5 days. Get inspiration, a lot of positivity, and some toolkits to change that little stone for you or for the people around you. So we're extremely excited to host you, and we are very, very looking forward to the next 1.5 days. And we're going to start with Patricia and Nora, who are the specialists in Germany when it comes for impact and SDGs.
We are in a race. The race is against time.
We have to build cities. We need them, but we have to make them in a different way.
We need a wave of innovation, not only for our way of life, but also the planet.
The consequences would be enormous if we lose this battle.
Hi everyone, welcome to our session. My name is Nora. I work on sustainability strategy, especially on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and my passion is really climate change mitigation and adaptation, and I do a lot on climate risk management, and yeah, I hope to share my insights with you today.
My name is Patricia. I work for an advisory firm specialized in impact finance, also in Germany, and my passion is impact, and especially understanding what impact means and being able to capture it and communicate it so that everyone else can really have the same understanding of how we can better contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals.
So what do we want to talk about with you today? We want to talk about impact on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. More specifically, we want to talk about them as a vision for the world. We also want to talk about the status quo. What is reality like when it comes to measuring impact for the Sustainable Development Goals? And lastly, of course, we want to inspire you. We're going to talk about opportunities.
So let's start from the beginning. What are the UN Sustainable Development Goals? I hope some of you might already have an idea, but just to be on the same page, in 2015, the United Nations came up with 17 goals, which are called Sustainable Development Goals. And you can think of it as an agenda to operationalize impact and solve some of the most pressing social and environmental issues we have today. Not only there are 17 goals, there are 169 targets and 232 indicators underlying. And what we are gonna do today is really try to understand what the SDG means and also what can you all do to contribute to them. So really the SDGs should be meant for not only governments, but also private sector. And this is a very interesting opportunity for everyone in this room to really be engaged and learn more about them.
So maybe you already work with the SDGs, maybe you know all about them already, or maybe you're hearing it for the first time, so you might wonder, why do the UN Sustainable Development Goals matter actually? And I'm telling you, they are basically, in my view, they are the red thread for the world. They are really this vision for the world. 17 goals, 17 global goals to transform our world by 2030. They are our vision. So if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what you're going to eat for breakfast tomorrow, look at the goals, you know? It's your path, and it's the path of everyone, of all stakeholders. Previously, the UN designed the Millennium Development Goals, which were really about emerging countries and governments. But now with the SDGs, it's about everyone. Every country is a developing country. We all need to do something. We all need to change and transform by 2030. And in this way, the UN SDGs provide a compass for us, not just for us as citizens or individuals or engaged youth, but also for governments, and especially talking about entrepreneurship, also for corporations and for startups. The SDGs really matter for everyone.
So let's start with a small exercise. Where are the SDGs? Okay, here you have 17 goals. I would like you to look at them, and you probably all received some notepads or you have some paper to write on. Please take 2 minutes to write down on a piece of paper what SDGs mean to you, and also what are the SDGs that really matter to you, and especially why. So whether you're already contributing to them or you're thinking of doing that, please take a moment to write it down. And you have 2 minutes for this. Maybe we could have some music. I hope you all wrote down why SDGs matter to you and also which are the SDGs you really care about. Now I would like you to turn to your neighbor and actually exchange with this person on what you wrote and try to see whether maybe you have some similarities or common vision to share. And you have another minute for this. Let's just do it quickly and then we move on. Thank you. Thank you so much for participating in this exercise. I would like to go back to reality. So I'm a bit of an impact nerd. I really like reading that impact page on a website of a startup, of a corporate. Like, I'm really interested in knowing what they're doing to contribute to impact, especially when it comes also to the Sustainable Development Goals. And what happens often is that there isn't so much on that page. You mostly will find some logos of the different SDGs. There might be a bunch of them. And you just ask yourself the question, is really counting heads impact? So you might see things like, oh, we have delivered 10,000 solar home systems, or we have, this is my favorite, we have touched 5,000 lives. So since I'm a nerd, I would like to just explain what is the difference between output, outcome, and impact, and why this matters. Let's think of an organization which is providing mentoring to unprivileged youth. And this organization is relying a lot on their volunteers who support those unprivileged teenagers, and they stay with them, let's say, 1 time per week for a period of 3 to 6 months. This organization has some really nice logos on the SDGs they are contributing to. It could be quality education, maybe, well-being. And then what are the numbers? If you look at them, it would be how many hours of mentoring this organization is providing to these teenagers. There will be probably how many youngsters have been supported through their programs. But all these numbers actually refer to outputs, which are just the immediate results of the activities of this organization. What if I told you that mentoring to unprivileged youth works only when you really support these youngsters for a period of 1.5 to 2 years on a continuous basis? And of course, you also have to factor in that there are many different elements that really make a difference whether this teenager is going to get on the right path and will become a productive member of society or not. All these elements are within what we call the assumptions. And if you're not able to measure the outcome and really understand whether what you're trying to do really works, then it might be the case that your assumptions are wrong. So just to go back to the output, outcome, and impact, and what I would like you to go back home with. Remember, outputs are just short-term results. The outcomes is the really important part, are the changes in the people you want to impact with your product or your service. And then the impact will be really the long-term effect on the life of these people. So there are two lessons here that I really would like to share with you. First is check your assumptions. Make sure that there is a causal linkage between your activities, the outputs you generate, and the outcome, which is the change you're aiming to. And second, obviously, measure outcomes and try to really understand what is happening.
Right. So measuring impact is really important, and you have just been thinking about which SDGs matter to you, why are they important for you, and which SDG maybe particularly appeals to you, right? So maybe you already want to come up with an SDG strategy for your corporation, for your startup, for your idea, or maybe just for yourself. So let's talk a bit about SDG strategy. And believe it or not, a lot of entities are already designing SDG strategies. Ever since the UN released the SDGs in 2015, a lot of especially big corporations have aligned their sustainability strategy with the SDGs. And there are various ways of doing it. I call this outside in and inside out. And it's two different ways of designing your strategy towards the SDGs. The first one is outside in. What does that mean? You start with the SDGs. So you look at the 17 goals that you just looked at and thought about yourself. And you might, of course, also want to look at the targets and the indicators that are underpinning it. And you think, for my business model, for my corporation, for my startup, which of these indicators, which of these targets are meaningful for me? Which ones are the ones that matter to me? Which ones are the ones that I want to have an impact on and measure it correctly? So this is what I would call the ideal way of doing it, because as I told you before, the SDGs are the vision. The SDGs are the compass and the red thread for all of us. So this is where it needs to start. You start from the SDGs and then you think, okay, how do I fit in there? How does my company fit in there? There's also a second way of doing it, which is what I would call inside out. Perhaps it's the more parsimonious way of doing it, because what you start with then is not the SDGs, but you start with your own strategy, with your business model, and you think, okay, maybe I'm an extractive company and I want to extract fewer resources. Or maybe I am a water company and I want to clean more water for more people or so. So you design your sustainability strategy because you want to reduce your impacts and you want to do something good for the world. And then you have that, and then you think, oh, there are the SDGs as well. Great. So now let me see, maybe I'm a renewable energy producer, and I think, oh, great, there's an SDG. Clean and affordable energy for all. Let me stick that on top of my strategy. And of course, the SDGs are this great tool, you know. They are a common language for everyone, that everyone understands, that everyone can align to. And they're also a great marketing tool. But the danger when you do it like that is that you that you start from your idea and not from the grand vision itself. So I would always recommend to start with outside in, to start with the SDGs, and then think, how do I fit in there? And not to start from yourself. Of course, this can be an iterative process. But the SDGs and the targets, this is in the end what we should all aspire to contributing to and to achieving in the end. There's two more points I want to talk about when it comes to designing your own SDG strategy. And that is that there is a difference between reducing negative impacts. What are negative impacts? What comes to mind for me, of course, is carbon emissions. Carbon emissions are, well, probably one of the greatest challenges in the upcoming decades related to climate change. So companies and startups, and maybe you yourself, you're thriving and you're striving towards reducing those negative impacts. And that's very commendable. And that's what we all need to do. It's the difference, though, if you are looking at the SDGs from a perspective of not how can I reduce my negative impacts, but how can I contribute positively towards the SDGs. And eventually, you will probably need to do both. I am sure that every business model that you might have come up with, that you're already working on, or that you want to work on in the future, will both at some point need to reduce its negative impacts, be it reduce carbon emissions because you're transporting some goods, or reducing water effluence or whatever. But on the other hand, you will ideally also build a business model that is contributing to the SDGs, that is helping in a positive way with your goods and services and with your product. And also, when you're thinking about designing a business model, you can also take the SDGs as an inspiration. Because you can think about it in this way: is my business model actually adding anything to the SDGs? Is there this element of additionality? Am I doing something to improve the state of the world, or am I just trying to make it a little bit less bad? It's a question of vantage points, really, but I think it's an important one, because when you think about how you can contribute to making something better, to improving the state of the world, then you're lifting people up and you're being positive. And yeah, that's for me really the main takeaway for you, that when designing your SDG strategy, do it outside in, and ideally look at it from a point of, what can I do, what can my business do to contribute to the targets in the SDGs? All right. We also promised to inspire you today. So back to the future, what lies ahead? Of course, 2030 lies ahead, which is the date by which we want to achieve the SDGs. And many of you are entrepreneurs, many of you are thinking about business models and so forth. And I strongly believe that there are a lot of new economic models coming up that actually provide business opportunity on the one hand, because it's new and because there's the business case for it, but that are also good for planet and people. Number one, the low carbon economy. We need a transformation in the next couple of decades. I already told you I'm passionate about climate change mitigation and climate change adaptation. I personally think this is the greatest challenge we're facing for the upcoming decades. But the great thing is, it's not just about making us less wealthy and making our lives harder by abating emissions. It's also a business opportunity. Renewable energy is something that is an immense opportunity. I mean, just look at it here in the Gulf states, for instance. There's so much sun. I've seen this great building with the wind turbines built into the building. It's amazing. There is so much opportunity, and there can be a business case for it as well. The second great transformation is the circular economy. What does the circular economy mean? At the moment, a lot of processes are going take, make, dispose. A linear process, and we're extracting, and in the end, we're wasting. So why not close the loop? That's the idea of the circular economy. There is no such thing as waste. Waste products from one industry can be used as raw materials for another. You know, like sawdust can be used as biofuel. Just one example. And it's a business opportunity precisely because it means that you can secure your resources and you can retain responsibility for your resources. One example that I always like to share is batteries. You know, we need a lot more batteries in the future, be it for electromobility or simply because we're becoming more and more digital and, well, we need more power and so forth. And raw materials to make batteries, such as cobalt and so forth, are pretty rare. So if you keep making batteries and then you don't know where the batteries are going once they're empty and once they can't be used anymore, then eventually you're going to run out of raw materials. So why not create a circular economy? Why not create reverse logistics and secure your raw material supply? It's a business opportunity. There are plenty new business models that are just waiting to be exploited, and they can help you achieve positive impact onto the UN SDGs. Another example is leasing models. You know, often people are selling goods, and then the consumer-producer relationship ends because you've sold the computer, and then you don't need another computer for some time, unless you designed it in such a way that it breaks after 2 years. But of course, that's not very good from an environmental perspective. So how can you be environmentally conscious and make money at the same time? You could provide leasing models. Like that, the producer retains responsibility for the product. The consumer gets a great product that gets perhaps a repair service or whatever, and also the consumer and producer relationship keeps on going. And the producer has the added value of retaining access to the raw materials. You can recycle the computer once it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, I really want to leave you with this. Look at the SDGs. Look at how you can create positive impact for them. And there are actually so many exciting new models for impact, and Patricia will tell you more about them now.
So I'm passionate about impact, but I work in impact finance. And actually, those two things can go very well together. And an opportunity I would like to talk about is the simple idea. What if impact, instead of using only money as success factor for every company, we could use impact as success factor? And what if this impact could be actually transformed, quantified, and monetized by the companies? What if we could really use impact as a currency? There are some people who say that doing such things could actually distort markets, but I think that the biggest market distortion we have today is the fact that organizations are simply not paying for the externalities, the negative externalities they are creating. And this could be really a game changer. Because if you would be able to pay companies for positive social outcomes that they are creating, this would be an additional revenue stream for them. And then this will balance out the situation. There will be probably companies which will be out of the market because they are not able to tap into this opportunity. To do this, of course, there is blended finance needed, and blended finance is the simple idea of taking together private and public funding, or better, using public funding to leverage private investments. And when we do so, we are really able to also steer investments and the way we put money into ideas in a way that it creates impact. So especially when we think about the SDGs and the government's commitments toward the SDGs, I see this really as a great opportunity for all of us to think about. And finally, this might sound a bit obvious, but I think technology is really important, not only to capture data, but also to be able to understand them and then be able to act and take the right decisions. So this is called impact management. It's really about using what we already have. It can be blockchain technology, it can be satellite imagery, to understand where we can create even more impact and what are really the opportunities, even market opportunities for startups, but as well corporates. I think that we are almost at the end, and we have another piece of inspiration for you before we close and wrap up this session. So we have a little video that we hope could really help you keep on thinking of what is the contribution that all of you want to make to the Sustainable Development Goals.
Fun fact, planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Mankind, about 140,000 years old. Let me put that in perspective. If you condense the Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, that's one full day, then we have been here on this planet for, drum roll please, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And look what we've done. We have modestly named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning wise man. But is man really so wise? Smart, yes, and it's good to be smart, but not too smart for your own good. Yes, we have split the atom. Yes, we build clever machines that navigate the universe in search of new homes, but at the same time, those atoms we split created nuclear warfare. In our quest to explore the galaxy, rejects and neglects the home that we have here now, so no, that cannot be wisdom. Wisdom is different. While intelligence speaks, wisdom listens, and we willingly covered our ears to Mother Nature's screams and closed our eyes to all of her help-wanted signs. Wisdom knows that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so if we were wise, we would not be shocked when we see storms that are stronger than ever before, or more drought, hurricanes, and wildfire than ever before, because there's more pollution than ever before, more carbon, more trees cut down than ever before. At a record pace, we have increased the extinction of animals by 1,000 times the normal rate. What a feat. In the next 10 to 100 years, every beloved animal character in every children's book is predicted to go extinct. Lions gone, rhinos gone, tiger, gorilla, elephant, polar bear gone in 3 seconds. Species that have been here longer than us will be gone because of us in this 3 seconds. In an existence shorter than a Vine video, we turn the circle of life into our own personal conveyor belt. Somebody, anybody help. We were given so much, the only planet in this solar system with life. I mean, we are 1 in a million. No, actually, scientifically, we are 1 in a billion, trillion. That's a 1 followed by 33 zeros. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but how are we not a miracle? We are perfectly positioned to the sun so we don't burn, but not too distant so we don't turn to ice. Goldilocks said it best. We are just right. This paradise where we are given medicine from trees, not coincidentally, but because like the song says, we are family. Literally, everything, every species is connected genetically, from the sunflower to the sunfish. And this is what we must recognize before it's too late, because the real crisis is not global warming, environmental destruction, or animal agriculture. It is us. These problems are symptoms of us, byproducts of us. Our inner reflection, loss of connection has created this misdirection. We have forgotten that everything contributes to the perfection of Mother Nature. Corporations keep us unaware and disconnected, but they have underestimated our strength. Contrary to popular belief, millions are waking up out of their sleep, seeing our home being taken right up under our feet. We cannot allow our history to be written by the wicked, greedy, and loony. It is our duty to protect Mother Nature from those who refuse to see her beauty. Call me crazy, but I believe we should have the right to eat food that's safe, with ingredients we can pronounce, drink water that is clean, marvel at trees, breathe air free of toxins. These are natural rights, not things that can be bargained for in Congress. See, they want you to feel powerless, but it has been said that something as small as the flutter of a butterfly's wing can cause a typhoon halfway around the world. Well, when enough people come together, we too will make waves and watch the world into a new era filled with love and connection, freedom for all without oppression. But it is up to you, yes, you watching this behind this screen, to make the effort, because time is of the essence, and only together can we make it to the 4th second.
So, courtesy. Videos courtesy of National Geographic, I want to point that out. Yeah, so I think we gave you the message to use the SDGs as the vision for you, for your business. You can make an impact on the SDGs, and you can create a positive impact by 2030. We talked about vision, we talked about reality, and we talked about opportunities for the future, and now it's up to all of us. Shape our future now.
Thank you so much. So just one quick note, we are going to be here on stage for the next 1.5 days. I just want to make sure that you all are aware that there will be different panels, sessions, we will have other keynotes. It's not going to be just us. So feel free to also share about this session, Hack for a Cause, with your friends and other people you will meet. We will be happy to see you again throughout the next 1.5 days. Thanks a lot.